Okay, so I'm here to do a review for you, Chivas, who's playing Soraka in this game. And uh, and just from looking at this game, you want to focus on laning and team fighting. So I'll put a lot of emphasis onto the laning phase, and we'll take a look at a couple of team fights. So before we get into the game, you can see that if you just this is something that I like to do either in loading screen or in champ select or mostly in loading screen. Take a couple of seconds, think about the matchup and think about how it might play out. So on your side you have Graves and Lucian. You have Lucian and Soraka. Now Soraka is an incredibly passive laner. She's very forgiving. She's pretty easy to play well. She has the ability to turn bad trades into good trades, and even if your AD carry is very bad or has no idea how to trade, Soraka can be a godsend. Soraka can sort of rescue that AD from being a bad player. Um, Lucian on this 5.22 patch got a significant buff in terms of his itemization. He has the ability to go Essence Reaver plus another crit item for maximum CDR. It's not that relevant. He still maintains his relatively strong laning phase, but there are others that can now contest him. For example, on their side, so you see they have Misfortune and Sona. Very, very strong lane, very strong dominant early game. Sona has incredible poke in the early game, has incredible sustain through her heal. I wouldn't say incredible, like it's nothing like Soraka, but she's sort of like the complete package at the sacrifice of squishiness. Now, normally, if you had the ability to counterpick Soraka, you would have gone something hard engagey like Leona, Alistar, Blitzcrank, Thresh, because a good ignite and an early engage can really destroy a Sona lane. As it is, you should be looking at this matchup as we're going to try to play a little bit safer. We're going to try and farm up. This is mostly because Misfortune on this patch is crazy broken, especially her laning phase. Two things: her love tap, the ability to deal bonus damage to the first time she hits a unique target. Crazy broken in the laning phase. Why? Because she can auto your AD, auto you, auto your AD, auto a creep, auto your AD, and every time she just switches targets, she does bonus damage. It's pretty insane, especially in a pokey lane with Sona. So you should expect to either go even or to maybe even lose the lane a little. You are a Soraka lane, so it's very difficult to completely shove you out. It's also very difficult to get dumpstered as a Soraka. Especially note the summoner spells. You should note that Sona has exhaust and that you also have exhaust, and therefore the kill pressure is very, very low. One of Soraka's main weaknesses in the laning phase is that she is very susceptible to ganks. She's a low mobility champion. Her only CC is soft and requires time to channel, and while silence is a great thing, it does not necessarily stop people from jumping onto you. You should note that their jungler is in Zhao's, and Zhao's can be a very good ganker. So while you're playing the lane out, it's very important to have lots of good vision and to try to not get too aggressive on the Misfortune. Because of the current meta, you should also keep track of how many TPs there are, as there's probably less than normal. You can see their top lane is still running TP, so you might expect TP ganks from the Aurelia, whereas your mid lane is running TP. So it's about even overall. So we can go to the laning phase and see what's going on. So in case you needed clarification, this lane, if it was just the AD matchup, Lucian against MF, I would say it's slightly in the favor of the Misfortune. She has an insanely strong laning phase at the moment. And I think when you consider the supports, it brings it up to about even. Although, for sure, you can say that Misfortune has a little bit of an edge. So here as Soraka, I see you leveled the heal first. Generally not a good idea. You can level Q for the early harass. Don't really need to level W, even though like it heals for a lot. You'll get level 2 soon enough, and it's probably more useful to get that extra damage on early, weaving in your auto attacks and Q damage. Okay, so here you guys have hit level 2 first. You should immediately level Q and start moving forward. Your Lucian should do the same thing, leveling his E, and you guys can, Lucian can quickly E onto one of these level 1 guys, and you'll heal up any burst that he does, and lay down your Q for some extra harass. Even if your Lucian doesn't do that, you should still remember that you're level 2, and you're going to be level 2 for at least one more creep, which is this whole minion here. This minion has a whole half of his HP left. So even if the MF focuses on trying to get this minion, you're going to get some free damage down. So let's see if you guys do that. So yeah, it's good. Okay, you didn't have to be afraid there. Like, see, you were really underestimating the level 2 advantage. Even though you're going to take a little damage from Sona empowered Q and our empowered auto, you can just turn it right around, hit them with a Q. Your Lucian should go in for the aggression. Like, it's really easy to just go aggressive here. Like, I know Soraka is a passive support, but it doesn't matter. The level 2 to level 1 advantage is massive, and it should definitely be respected. Oh, so now you've let them hit level 2, and now your little advantage and the edge you could have gotten there is gone. Okay, so you missed a Q there. No biggie, it happens. It's unfortunate that you're playing Soraka and not a more proactive support, so I can't point out to you like bigger missed opportunities. That's good, you landed a double Q. If you were playing someone like a Blitzcrank or an Alistar, I'd be able to talk to you a bit more about like good times to initiate, but as it is, you're just going to chill out here, let your Lucian farm, heal up any poke, and try to maintain good vision around. Okay, so this is a little early. Okay, the thing is, you don't necessarily have to ward here this early because most of the time when it's blue side, jungler is going to be starting bottom. He's going to start the doubles, then he's going to go on to red, and then he's going to go on to blue, blah blah blah. So usually you're not going to see like a level 2 gank coming from this tri-bush before around like 4 minutes, 4.5 to 5 minutes. So I would probably wait until you could wait if you don't see the jungler at all by 4.5 minutes, like he's not topside or anything. Then yeah, definitely go out there and put this ward. But here, it's not really necessary. Alright, it's pretty standard. Lucian's taking the opportunity to trade. And he's chunked them out. Good, you're using your Q to get your life back. It's really good. Nice. Okay, you should heal your Lucian here. This is a big mistake I see with a lot of Soraka players. They're very stingy with their heal. You've got to remember that your heal costs you 10% of your HP. Yes, that's true. So you might think, oh, like what's the point, right? It's just a transference of HP, but it's not true because you have a lot more regen than your Lucian does. Remember that as creeps die, you get HP back from your ancient coin. So it's actually really beneficial to keep your AD topped up if you're not expecting an immediate fight. And you shouldn't be expecting an immediate fight. Like, it's not likely to happen anytime soon. See, okay, see, you're almost full HP. Like, you're 20 HP away. Your Lucian is a little chunked. Just heal him up. Like you can't hold on to the heal forever. And remember, yeah, it does cost you 20 mana, but if you find you're running out of mana too fast, lay back on the Q harass a little bit. Okay, good. Okay, so far it's going pretty smoothly. That seems like they are a little scared of the fact that you're a Soraka lane, so even the MF is not really trading as hard as she could be. I don't think anything interesting is going to happen. I mean, it is a Soraka lane, right? I expect it'll just be pretty much a farm pass. That was good. Lucian's doing damage. Lucian can actually afford to be more aggressive because of the fact that you're Soraka. Um, Unfortunately, that's something that's in solo queue. It's very difficult to convey. It's hard for the AD to go against all of their instincts. Okay, that was bad by the Lucian. Good by you. So yeah, we're not really doing anything much here. Can't really say anything except the fact that it's gonna go on. Okay, so your Lee Sin wants to come in for a lane gank. Very difficult to gank for a Soraka lane, mostly because you don't have any hard CC yourself, so it requires your opponents to misposition and screw up. Let's see what happens. Alright, you guys are baiting yourself. Oh wow, got the stun there. It's actually the best opportunity for them to go. Don't know if they're going to, but let's see. But yeah, Soraka, you just stand a little back. Just make sure you pump up the heals. It's honestly, it's not a very difficult thing to do. Okay, so the Soraka has died here, but you see that the Xin Zhao is coming. Okay, so this is how you should be thinking. What is the best move I can make here that will maximize the chances of surviving multiple people? So you know that Lee Sin has dived really deep. He's probably not going to get this, to be honest. Your Lucian has dashed in, which means you're pretty much committed to trying to keep your Lucian alive. You want to hold your exhaust until right as the Xin Zhao jumps in, and if you still have your silence, which you do, again you want to wait until the Xin Zhao jumps in, and then hopefully you can get the CC off, and you guys should be able to get out with double summoners. Okay, good. This would be a good time to lay down the silence. I see you've exhausted. That's really good. You should also lay down the silence there. Not enough mana, maybe? Yeah, not enough mana. Okay. Alright, it's fine. Did about the best that you could do given the situation. Yeah, okay. Some random stuff. Good ward. Time to back. Okay, so this is a thing that's been being talked about lately, which is the fact that you don't want to go Sightstone that early. This is mainly because pink woods have gotten a lot cheaper. You get free scaling vision with your warding totem. So if you don't want to go Sightstone early, might be better to get the next upgrade for your coin. Might be better to get a pink ward. Might be better to get boots. So you can just sort of get those combat stats, make your laning phase a lot smoother. Now, don't get me wrong, Sightstone's a great item. Sightstone is definitely a must second buy or third buy, but you might want to flex out and try out different timings for when you get your Sightstone in future games. Because definitely the reason why is that you see the Sightstone gives you 150 HP. Buying a ruby crystal also gives you 150 HP. So basically you spent 400 gold just for the active warding component, which in the early game is huge. It's not really that worth it. So maybe consider delaying it to a second or third item. Okay, we come back to lane. Yeah, we do more trading, more Soraka stuff. Good. You have a Sightstone, but you don't have... See, you have a Sightstone, but you have not taken the chance to put out vision. Let's go back a little and show you when you could have done that. So right here, the Sona is walking back. You should take this opportunity to walk forward a little, just to get that ward into this bush. The Sona is not going to be able to kill you. Like, she would have to, yeah, she just can't kill you. Like, there's no way. If they really, really go hard on you, you still have flash. And yeah, it's a waste, but the fact that you have a Sightstone and you're not using the vision is a huge deal. Okay, right now. See, she's already past the middle mark. You can just straight up walk up. And if they go on you, your Lucian's on his way. You can dish out the pain. Instead, you're just sort of wasting your time here. You're not doing anything. Definitely, you should be going up here to plop a ward down. If you didn't do any of that before, after this trade, you can still go. There's no need to hang out with your AD 100%. You can definitely go, plop a ward, come back in no time. Instead, the Xin Zhao is approaching, and now you guys are completely blind. So let's see what happens. You can afford to put a ward here as well, especially since you still have your warding totem. It just prevents them from zoning you, really. But yeah, you guys see this in zone. Okay, so this is your AD being kind of stupid. I can't fault you for this because your AD is the one making the bad aggressive move here. As soon as you see the Xin Zhao coming, okay, first of all, this Equinox that you casted, it's not exactly where you want it to be. You want to hold Equinox for when the Xin Zhao jumps onto your Lucian. Or actually, you could just put it on top of your Lucian so that by the time it expires, you can get the snare off as soon as possible. See, so let's go back again. Let's watch that slowly. Yeah, see, you think that you're using this to silence and prevent them from you think you're using this as a silence to prevent them from being able to get onto your Lucian, but you gotta realize that most enemy champions, they can just walk out of it. What you want to do is utilize the stunning capabilities and the silence capabilities to its maximum. So what happens is, as soon as you see the Xin Zhao, you just plop this Equinox on top of your Lucian, so that by the time it disappears, if they dash onto him, they get snared, and Lucian might be able to make it out. See, you see, instead the Xin Zhao gets onto the Lucian, and somehow, there you go, he dies. Your Pantheon has jumped down, killed somebody. You are likely going to have to go back in to heal him. You should be really careful though. The Xin Zhao can jump on you at a moment's notice. Sort of dance around the edges and see if you can find an opportunity. Okay, that's exactly what I was talking about. Good that you have the heal to bait, but if the Xin Zhao was a little stronger, you might not have lived through this. So, that was good. That was unnecessary. That didn't really do anything. If she was gonna flash, she probably would have flashed earlier. You should have just thrown down another Q, gotten the bonus damage in. It wouldn't have changed anything, of course. Like, it's not like you would have killed her, but it's just about optimizing your movements and optimizing your decisions. Okay, so does laning phase continue still for a while? What's your vision looking like? Okay, so this is pretty bad. Ideally, you want vision here, you want vision here, you want vision here. This is more important, followed by this. Lastly, by this. This is usually the spot you want to put your pink wards in the beginning if you're unable to defend it, which as a passive laner is often the case. I know you're trying to go in and save your Lucian, so there's not really much here. It's just unlucky that the Yasuo happens to be there. So let's see what happens here. Yasuo shows himself. Okay. Remember what I said about maximizing the field? You're trying to use it as a zoning tool. Sometimes it can be used that way, but more often than not, it's better to use it as a protection pool by putting it on top of your AD carry. Why? Because when the field disappears, if there's someone standing on there, they get stunned. So in fact, in this situation, you do this. Yes, the Yasuo is going to have to walk a little bit further before he can dash onto the Yasuo, but he can just walk this way. Walk this way, it doesn't change that much. You put it on Lucian, or you put it slightly behind Lucian, and now Lucian is a directly good path to get out of here. So yeah, definitely this Equinox placement, and probably most Equinox placement of most Soraka players needs some work. Okay, that was a really late ulti by Sona. Good heal. Heal him again. Okay, you missed the heal there. Shouldn't be the case. You should be healing him on cooldown. Your team looks like they want to re-engage again, so you might have to go back in. Yeah, so you could have walked more forward because the Yasuo is no longer going to turn on you. You might have been able to get one more heal off on the Diana before she died, but who knows. Does anything else happen? It's interesting. The Lee Sin is calling for Dragon. Depending on what happens next here, it's possible that you might want to go. Okay, so yeah, this guy is just really overstaying. It's not your fault. You can't do anything about that. You want to go up with the Lee Sin, get the vision, get the Dragon if you can. And yeah. You should not stay here. Definitely not. You're too far forward. If you get dashed on, it's very possible that you could die. Alright, they don't want to go. I'm assuming you guys are going to get this dragon. And wow, this laning phase is very extended. So I'll watch maybe one more team fight, and then I think that'll cover basically everything we need to know. I mean, it doesn't really seem like, again, it's mostly the nature of the champion. There's not a lot of tips I can give you that aren't really obvious or that don't really seem to be something you're already doing. It's not extremely difficult to play Soraka. That's just the truth of the matter. Okay, Equinox there, a little bit shaky. Let's go back a bit. So your idea is you want to do what with your Equinox, right? Like, your heal is up, you should just instantly heal him. Keep walking backwards. The Equinox does nothing here, right? The Sona is too far out of range to ulti. The MF ulti by itself is not going to kill your Lucian, probably. So There's no reason to use that super long cooldown Equinox. Equinox is a very important skill for Soraka. Good, healing him. Should heal him one more time, just for good measure. This is all just standard Soraka laning. Not very exciting. Not a lot of finesse. It's just heal when you get hit. Hope your guy out CS's their guy. Alright, so Pantheon wants to make a jump, right? You don't want to make this super obvious. Just keep doing what you're doing. Once you actually see the red circle show up, you can start to move in for an Equinox. Now is the time to use Equinox offensively to prevent them from using movement skills, from flashing if they want to. But even then, it's going to be hard for Pantheon to hit an exact ulti. Good Equinox. Really good. Force the flash. Got one. Can definitely get two. Alright, make sure to keep healing. Yep. Good, good. You have no HP. It's time for you to back. That's good. That was well played. Yeah, like I said, it's not really much finesse to this whole thing. This isn't you. Okay, you had a DC, which is really unfortunate. It might have contributed to the game's longevity, actually. Good, you're pumping out your heals. Yeah, not much criticism. The main thing is the Equinox usage, which I've outlined at several points in this review already, plus the level 2 misplay. And yeah, it doesn't seem like a misplay, but you shouldn't think about the fact that nothing big happened. You should think about the fact that you didn't manage to push that advantage that was freely presented to you. So I think with that, you got a pretty solid idea of your weaknesses during the laning phase, and especially what you could improve on as a Soraka player during the laning phase. As always, if you have any questions, you can ask me or message me. Right now, I'm going to skip forward to something, and we'll see a late game team fight and see how you played that one out. Okay, so wow, 27 to 21, but you guys are 10k behind. That's crazy. Let's go to something a little more even. Did you guys have an AFK for a long time? Is that why, or? Yeah, you guys had an AFK for a long time, huh? Okay, well, that kind of skews the game a bit, but we'll try to get to a 5v5 and see what happens. This is a 5v5. Okay, well, look at the next big team fight, and we'll see if there's anything that could have been improved there. And then we'll call it a day. Okay, let's take a look at this. Your Diana wants to go. You should know that you're losing your mid tower, and that if you walk up, you're going to die. Right now, the best thing you can do actually is go back home, heal. I assume you have home guard. Oh, actually, captain. Interesting. Probably better to have bought home guard, especially since you have an AFK. You're going to be doing a lot of ambulance healing, as I call it, where you run out, heal people, home guard to get the HP back, come back. Okay, your Diana's gone really deep. You cannot follow her because you know that they're taking your middle inhib and that they can cut you. And at the same time, uh, the Aurelia does not actually have to go onto this Diana. She can go past her and go straight on you, which is exactly what happens. And then you die. So, as Soraka, yes, it's important to be near your teammates, but Soraka is not good at pushing forward with her teammates due to her susceptibility to getting flanked. It's much better to be in a defensive position, much better to have your teammates retreat and you walking towards them, so to meet them in the middle. You don't want to be going forward with your teammates when it means you're exposing your flank to something really obvious, which in this case it was because they were taking your inhib and you knew they could come this way. Is this the end? Apparently not. Okay, go watch one more fight. Alright, you're back. What just happened? Okay, he wants to do Baron. Okay, you see the TP, you see this TP is happening. There's someone there, right? Yuli gets jumped on, you go to save him. Okay, too early. Super bad Equinox. So again, Equinox placement is probably the most difficult part of playing Soraka, and it's definitely what separates really good Sorakas from mediocre Sorakas. Mediocre Sorakas go around, heal people, land a couple Qs, press ulti when people are dying across the map, whoop-de-doo. It's not very hard, right? What separates the good Sorakas from the great Sorakas is literally the ability to land game-changing Equinoxes. So you think landing this Equinox is going to help your Lee Sin escape, but really it's not going to, because Yasuo is an auto attack based champion. Even if he's unable to Q, he can still do a lot of damage just from his auto attacks alone. B, your Lee Sin is very likely to dub you out onto you. So you don't need to waste this Equinox here when you know that a TP is happening and that another fight might break out soon. It's just unlucky that the Lee decided to kick in this case. Slow this down a little. Your Equinox is back up. You shouldn't run this far. You should get ready to turn around, especially when your team turns around. This is a really good place to put your Equinox. It's right between these two who are getting sandwiched by your team. Stops the Aurelia from getting further onto your Lucian. Prevents them from killing the Pantheon that's right on top of them. And if they stay and fight in the circle, then it's very likely that they'll get killed by the sandwich. So you should put your Equinox here or here, just a little around this area, so they don't have a choice but to stand and fight. Okay, yes, it's okay. It's alright. It's not bad. Could be a little better. Like I said, could cover a little more. The other important part about playing Soraka is picking your heal targets. Obviously, in this case, because he's the one getting focused, you're just going to be healing him. That's fine. It's true. Okay, good. 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 Get out of range. Good. Good. Heal. Oh. Didn't manage to click the last heal there. Feel like you could have gotten one more. Good. Good. Almost. I mean, you played it pretty well. No real complaints there. Okay. So, I'm going to stop the review here. It doesn't really matter how you lose this game. because you had an AFK. I mean, the flow of the game was dictated by the fact that you guys were ahead, and then you had an AFK, and then you had to play a defensive battle, crawling from behind. And I mean, there's a million other things there that's not totally reflective of your play. So the things we're focusing on is your laning phase and your team fighting. Laning phase, you're playing Soraka. It's not exactly a hard champion. There's not that many decisions. Like I said, the one major skill factor of good Soraka players is the Equinox, and that serves for your team fights and your laning phase. You definitely need to work better at predicting where your enemies are going to end up and knowing where your Equinox is going to achieve maximum effectiveness. I hope that you got something out of this review. Soraka is not my favorite support, and it's definitely not the one I have the most experience on. I know theoretically how to play her very well. She's very simple to play, and she does have some quirks and nuances, but not a lot. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a PM. Thanks!